okay, is far beyond our expectation.
It's the safest way of owning a house.
My mouth is full of appreciation to Federal Mortgage Bank.
Hello there. Thank you for joining us again on yet another edition of the program Everyone Deserves a Home. I'm Gabriel Ojile. For every Nigerian above the age of 18 who has a steady source of income, contributing to the NHF scheme is mandatory. In spite of this fact, many still see the NHF as a scheme for civil servants and government workers. What is the FMBN doing about this? The answer is sensitization and more sensitization. Why and when is this necessary? And when does it end, if ever? This is what we shall be looking at in our major story tonight. The program is complete with our other regular segments, showcasing an FMBN estate as well as the story of a happy NHF beneficiary living out his dreams in his own home. This and more coming your way after this time out.
The latest couple in town.
Good day, sir.
How are you? Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Drinks?
No, we're fine, sir.
How was the moon experience?
It was quite an experience.
How about house?
We are renting at the moment, but we intend to save enough to own our own house, right?
Why not avoid all those Shylock landlords and own a house up front? With the average income and cost of building houses today in Nigeria, mortgage is the best option. No sweat. I tell you what, that was how I got my first house, and I've never regretted it.
To make good homes, and by implication, a good society, an individual is expected to have an abode from which to take off and return at the end of each day. At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home. Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
The program will begin with news from the diary of the FMBN. In our lineup, FMBN Non-Executive Board inspects Brains and Hammers Mega City project. Please stay tuned for details.
The non-executive board members of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria in the company of the Managing Director, Architect Ahmed Engiwa, and Executive Director, Finance and Corporate Services, Melville Ebo, along with other management staff of the bank, have inspected the ongoing Mega City project under the National Economic Sustainability Plan. Speaking during the inspection visit, leader of the delegation, Mr. Adedeji Jones Adesemoye, disclosed that the visit was necessary to keep checks on what the developer of the project is doing with the funds disbursed.
It's our duty to ensure that we do not just disburse funds, but we see the work. We are not waiting until the units are completed. We want to ensure we close mark the utilization of the resources so that corrections are better taken when it is at the initial stage. So for what we have seen, because we are here before the project started, when they just do land clearing. Okay, so some of the issues that we noticed at that particular time, we needed to see that we manage the risk properly so that the developers are abreast with this.
He called on the developer of the project to speed up the pace of the construction. Other members of the board also spoke in the same vein so that more Nigerians can own homes.
It is necessary to monitor the projects that we have disbursed funds for. We need to know that they are going to be able to deliver on time and as agreed, and they are sticking to their timelines.
The Brain Hammers, they have the capacity to do this work. I'm very surprised to see the work even going faster than the timeline given. Before we give them 24 months. They say they want to finish in 12 months. We agree because they have the capacity to do the work. The work is very good.
And our emphasis actually is for the infrastructure, which we have obtained the commitment of the developer to put the infrastructure in place so that it makes the place accessible to other people.
The Mega City project, which is being developed by Brains and Hammers, is an initiative of the FMBN to provide mass housing. About 1,250 housing units are to be delivered through this project.
Thank you for staying tuned. The FMBN takes sensitization exercises very seriously. This is because contributors must be aware of what the scheme offers and what they stand to gain by contributing. But what happens after a contributor has accessed any loan product of the bank? Is there need for further sensitization? Let's answer this in our next segment, Building Blocks.
Every day, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is partnering with estate developers and other stakeholders to make affordable housing available to Nigerians. Every day, more and more Nigerians who are contributors to the scheme are actualizing their home ownership dream courtesy of various FMBN products created for that purpose. But there are still quite a number of Nigerians who do not know about the National Housing Fund and why they need to contribute to the NHF. That is why the FMBN has made it a mandate for every staff of the bank to engage in sensitization exercises so that more people understand why it is necessary to contribute to the NHF scheme.
The bank sees sensitization as the first avenue to be able to let the people know that they have this obligation to meet. But apart from it just being an obligation, why are they contributing? Why should they contribute to National Housing Fund? Why is it mandatory for them to contribute to National Housing Fund? So as to expand opportunity for them to own a home. So you have to bring that information to their doorstep.
It is also necessary to sensitize in order to clear out the misconception that the NHF scheme is a form of tax being paid to government.
While you are contributing to the National Housing Fund, it is not a task. Yes, you can have a tax rebate. You can have some tax refunded. But the National Housing Fund is the one that your money is totally refunded to you at the time of retirement, completely, with interest. But when people understand that it is all advantageous, then at the end of the day, you will find people trooping. I have a personal belief that if people come to understand exactly what the advantages that are attached to the contributions to the National Housing Fund are, you will not have to be out there sensitizing people anymore. They will be trooping to come and contribute to National Housing Fund.
Sensitization, however, is not limited to new or non-benefiting contributors only. The bank also sensitizes contributors who have already benefited from one product or the other.
Now, the culture of mortgage and the culture of borrowing is very alien to most Africans. We are averse to borrowing. People don't really want to borrow. You get them to understand that this money that you have paid, that you have borrowed, this is a period with which you have to pay it up. And if you don't pay religiously, this is the implication. You don't pay your loans in a bank, particularly in a mortgage. What happens is that the money that you are supposed to pay that you have not paid, it will be recapitalized. It will be added to what is your principal, and the interest will be charged on top. So you are paying interest on interest. You are compounding your situation. So people get to understand that as you are paying, you are reducing your burden because the payment, the interest is related. The interest is charged upon the outstanding amount on your loan. So it makes it easier for you. But when you don't pay, it gets compounded. And so it becomes very difficult for you to, the loan amount, rather than reducing, it will be going up. So sensitization gets to tell them all of this.
Although it is mandatory for any government worker to contribute to the scheme, the FMBN makes it a point of duty to continually sensitize the labor and trade unions because of the necessity of owning a home even before retirement.
It's important that you make them understand that contributing to the National Housing Fund is in the interest of the workers. It is in the interest of their own people. That at the end of the day, it is to provide what? Roof over their heads. You know, I say it repeatedly, and I say it again, that one of the strongest instruments in fighting corruption is through the assurance that a worker can retire to a home. Apart from greed, some of the things that motivate people to be corrupt is to be able to have a place that they can retire to. Because if you don't have a place that you can retire to, that becomes a source of your worry, maybe 2 or 3 years to your retirement. So any union leader who means well for workers is to encourage them that they be able to access any legal means through mortgage to be able to own a home before retirement. So we try to get them to buy into that idea so as to own it. And once they are able to own it, then they are able to convince their people that this is for your good.
For the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, sensitization does not end until a contributor has retired and gotten back all of his or her contributions.
The program is Everyone Deserves a Home. In 2020, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, commissioned the Wood Hill Estate in Kuje Area Council of the FCT. Following the success of the project, the developer worked on a second phase for the Wood Hill Estate. And details of this estate will be our project in focus this week. Keep watching.
Located in Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory is Wood Hill Estate. The estate was developed by Perfect Estate Developers Limited. The first phase of the project was under the Cooperative Housing Development Loan of the FMBN. With the success of the first phase, the developer of the project approached the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria for funding for a second phase.
Following the success of the first phase, and the attraction our cooperative was able to bring, into the system or into the estate, we had more inflow of people in the cooperative. As such, the demand, grew.
Phase 2 comprises 77 housing units to the tune of 625 million naira only, which has been fully disbursed. The project comprises of 37 units of 3-bedroom fully detached bungalows and 40 units of 2-bedroom semi-detached bungalows. While ongoing, the project was an avenue for mass employment as over 2,000 people were employed on the site.
It has attracted about 2,000, artisans and laborers, during the period of when we are at the top of the construction. So this has really help, in elevating, the labor market, It has really helped.
The developer worked with a consultant to ensure strict adherence to specification in line with the standards laid down by the FMBN.
I'm an architect, and from my part, this is my concept. I designed this. As a matter of fact, the specifications are actually done by myself as a developer at the same time, an architect. Having said that, the FMBN on their part also put up a consultant who are also architects, to further supervise what we are doing. And I think it was a very successful relationship there because meeting a professional who is also a developer makes it a lot easier even for the supervising consultant from FMBN, to be able to synergize on this project.
Because the estate is located within the first phase, basic infrastructure has already been provided, with only the road network awaiting completion.
80% of the road in the phase 2 has already been done because it has underground drainage. So there is no way we could have detached the underground drainage of the first phase from that of the second phase. So as a matter of fact, we did that together. The road surfacing has already been completed. The curbs on the road has already also been 100% completed. So apparently what is remaining, in the phase 2 road network or infrastructure is the surfacing. The electricity is already provided, even in the phase 2, already. And the water is running in the taps. So apparently it's just maybe like 20% of phase 2 road network that has not been finished.
Subscription for the houses is still ongoing and different people troop in daily to check the houses.
What is the name of my grandson? Suleiman.
That's a good name. May the Almighty preserve him.
Amin.
Now that your family is growing, this is the time for you to start thinking of a house of your own.
Abba, the thought of this has always been on my mind. To build a house now, you need a lot of money, and that is what is holding me back.
Sonny, what you need is a mortgage. NHF mortgage loan. With NHF mortgage loan, you own a house upfront and pay gradually over a long period of time.
Abba, I will go to the FMBN office right away.
Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
Former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Prince Adetokunbo Kayode, has urged the federal government to replicate the Medieval Federal Housing Estate project located in Akure across the Federation. He said this during a visit to the Medieval Building and Construction Company Limited project site in Akure, Ondo State. Kayode noted with satisfaction that the ongoing housing project will go a long way in addressing the housing deficit in the country. While also showing satisfaction with the quality of materials used for the project, Kayode said that the project will reduce the high cost of house rent and provide a means of livelihood for artisans. Managing Director, Medieval Building and Construction Company Limited, Ademola Akin Benson, while also speaking, commended President Muhammadu Buhari, the Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, as well as the management of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria for their commitment to solving housing challenges in the sector. Akin Benson also noted the readiness of the firm to sustain a good relationship with its stakeholders by properly executing federal government's housing projects awarded to it. A real estate expert and MD CEO of Eco Development Company, Mr. Olawale Obayinka, has urged contractors, developers and landowners to patronize local manufacturing companies in the country for job creation and growth of local industries to compete with other foreign counterparts. Speaking during the unveiling of 110 residential apartments in Azuri Towers at the Eco Atlantic City, Obayinka noted that although sourcing for good local materials in building homes may be difficult, he said it was possible. The managing director further advised that in using local materials for building, their quality and value should speak for themselves.
Welcome back. It is always a delight sharing stories of Nigerians who have benefited from the NHF scheme. It stands as proof that the scheme is not a mirage, as people in their numbers stand as witnesses to the reality of the scheme. Stay tuned as we share the story of Ismail Salisu from Kano State.
You may be threatened every year. I thought mortgage is an alien thing.
When this house came, I even added weight.
I was really happy about that.
They made it easy for everybody.
It's very flexible. I'm one of the beneficiaries.
Federal Mortgage Bank has done well.
Houses for all.
Ismail Salisu is the owner of this beautiful 3-bedroom semi-detached bungalow in the Ministerial Pilot Housing Scheme 2, Kano State. He was a contributor to the NHF but never gave it much thought until in 2018 when his wife brought home a flyer of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria after a sensitization at her place of work.
I think the FMB guys, your guys here in Kano, went to my wife's office where they had a presentation, just to tell them about the products that they had available at that time. So I came back, I think it was somewhere in 2018, and my wife came back home with the flyer, and I picked it up, and I was interested in, there was one particular thing that actually captured my interest, the rent-to-own stuff, where you have to get that ensures that you get the house even without equity contribution. So it was quite interesting for me, and then I felt that I should take advantage of that opportunity. So I think the next day I came to your office here in Kano, just to make some inquiries. And as at that time, I think the estate was still under construction. And there was this guy I met, Aminu, very fantastic guy. So he was the one that encouraged me that I should just keep the faith, and that as soon as the houses were complete, that he was going to keep me posted.
Ismail Salisu shares his first night experience in his house and how it feels being a home owner.
My first night here, I woke up at 12 noon. The feelings that you don't have to deal with any landlord anymore, that alone is satisfying. That I'm no longer, going to pay rent to any landlord. That in itself alone is satisfying. So, and to every working class Nigerian, I think the ultimate goal is for you to have a home. It's always exciting going out when I'm going to work, always exciting when I'm coming back home. There's this excitement, there's this joy that comes with it that, hey, you are going back to your home. It's your home. Come on. So I'm no longer going to be indebted to any landlord. All I'm focused on is to make sure that I'm able to pay back my loan, and of which I know that the payment and what is going to be taken from my salaries is so flexible that I don't even get to feel it.
Since he moved in, Salisu had taken it upon himself to speak to people about owning their own homes even before retiring from service.
Joshua telling us that
he emphasizes on the flexibility of the scheme.
Nigerians have this mentality that nothing works. And the feedback that I get from some of them when I talk about the housing thing is that you need to have a godfather. And I give an example of myself. Like I said, this journey started in 2018. In 2019, I got my offer. I can't remember talking to any godfather because I never had one. It wasn't necessary. All you need as a Nigerian worker is just ensure that your employer is contributing to the National Housing Fund. As long as you are contributing to the National Housing Fund, it becomes a right to you to key into the scheme. And that's one thing that a lot of Nigerian workers are not aware of. Even though that deduction is being taken from their salaries, but they are not aware that they can actually use that as an opportunity to key into the scheme.
He is ecstatic to be a homeowner because his children will have a conducive environment to grow in, and that was his attraction to the house.
There, you have heard from Ismail. Why don't you log on to our website on www.fmbn.gov.ng for more about us, or kindly visit any of our branch offices near you for inquiries. Also, do not forget to check the status of your contributions on *219#. Until next week when I come your way again, you can catch up previous episodes of the program at Newage TV Network on YouTube. See you next week.